This is a video idea I kind of had in my head for quite a while now, just because I wanted to share how I end up making some of my money in Greenville. Now, you don't have to follow this if you don't feel like it. I'm basically just going to go over a set route that I like to follow whenever I end up doing Sahara, which you don't have to follow. If you have your own route, go by all means use that. But I'm also going to throw in like a couple of little tips and tricks, some vehicles that I might recommend, and just other kind of little pieces of common sense that I figured that most people would know already, but just for the few that might be starting, it might be helpful. Okay, so of course, the number one thing I'm going to recommend to you, get the extraterrestrial roadster. This thing will save you literal minutes on doing Sahara jobs. But of course, at the steep price of $5 million and being the most expensive car in the game, it's quite out of reach for a lot of people. But whenever you get the chance to, definitely buy that thing. I didn't really point out, but also like the Speedtail and the NVNA Cessra, the Koenigsegg Regera are also pretty good options if you have that really high budget available. But another vehicle I recommend, the Stelvio Quattrofoglio, is a solid SUV for under 100k. Which tops out at a pretty reasonable top speed. It's all-wheel drive, and it'll be able to handle off-road, which is kind of an important thing with Sahara because you're probably just going to be going across quite a few paths to cut across a couple of neighborhoods. The Jaguar XF is also pretty decent if you want something that's fairly cheap and also really quick. It's just you're going to have to tune it a little bit because it's rear-wheel drive and it won't handle as good on the dirt. But as long as you stay within the roads, for the most part, you should be okay. Another car that probably most people will end up recommending to you is the Reactive Series Model S, which, at its price point, it's probably going to be the best option for you other than the Tesla Roadster. Generally speaking, what I'm trying to say is just get an SUV that can top out at around 170 miles an hour, because at least it will be able to go off-road when you need to, but it will be fast on road. Okay, so I just went on to the DMV job just quickly because I wanted to throw up the in-game map here, just so that way you can get a point of reference of where I'm going to go. So right here, this is the Sahara warehouse down on, okay there, I'm pointing to it now. That's the Sahara warehouse. That's where you're going to start all the time when it comes to doing any of the deliveries. Then going from there, you're going to want to go over to that neighborhood in that little area that's kind of close to the Sahara warehouse. I think it's called, it's not Lakeville, but it's something similar. Then you're going to want to go up to around the gated neighborhood and that little area up further north. And then if there's any other like little houses around that first neighborhood, you can go to them as well. Then you're going to want to go over to 6000. If there's any houses in 6000, go there. If there's any off in like those weird little farmlands off more south. And then there's also this neighborhood over here on like this side. And then up ahead, there's also that neighborhood. Again, I can't remember the names of them, but then there's Horton, which Horton you can go to if you choose to, but Horton is kind of a and then there's Brookmere. Don't go to Brookmere. Now there also may be times where you get some houses off on the like edge of the map that's kind of close to the highway. Now if you do want to reset, if you end up getting any houses down there, you can. I'm not telling you that you should, but if you feel like it would save you more time, then be more than free to. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the actual route in-game. I do have this speeded up so that way it's not as boring to watch over, but you're just going to take the same route that I described to you in the map. So I do end up actually taking a bit of a wrong turn here. You're going to want to turn down that road that's kind of back off closer to Sahara's warehouse. So, you're going to go over to each house, spawn in the job vehicle. I'd keep the menu open So that way it saves you just like a touch bit of time whenever you're actually delivering. Now, in this delivery, I did get one in Brookmere. You can see me pointing to it over there in the distance. You can tell whenever you get one in Brookmere because it's way, way far off in the distance. But yeah, for the sake of content, I just decided to go with it and just do the deliveries all the way through, even though there was one in Brookmere. Okay, I figured I'd just cut ahead a little bit, but whenever you get two houses that are like right close to each other, wait a couple of seconds before you throw the box in, because normally a lot of the times if you rush right over, it's going to pop up with an error telling you that, the last delivery was unsuccessful and so on and so forth. But here, this is, up in Brookmere. I did get lucky in this one, however, because I got a house that's just down in this little area, which isn't as bad to deliver to, but, generally speaking, don't go to Brookmere even still. One last thing I figured I wanted to mention was any kind of, limited vehicles that I might recommend to use. So, for instance, the Tundra Pre-Runner, in my opinion, is a very, very solid vehicle to use. I use this thing a lot when I was first starting out, when I was first really getting into Greenville. Thankfully, because of the whole Christmas event and everything during that time, I was able to get it for basically nothing. But also some other limited vehicles that I might recommend would also be the Tacoma Pre-Runner from last year, which I don't have because I figured just the time would be enough. But also the 1300 horsepower Corvette, I feel like that also would probably be a pretty good option, if you played for a little bit longer than I did. But, that's just as a suggestion. You don't have to use it if you don't feel like it, but I just figured, it might be something